The following is a presentation of 912 Sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, your number one source for high school sports. With Sean Smoke, Kevin Price, and Robbie Ross. On Air with 912 Sports is brought to you by Coastal Pines Technical College. Go Coastal. Prime South Bank. Find your prime. Robbie Robertson Ford, because Fords are cheaper in the swamp. Gibson Animal Clinic, practical solutions with limited fees. Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, the region's best orthopedic care. And Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with eXp Realty.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Hey folks, welcome back to another week of the Smoke Report. Here are your scores from October 13th. Game of the week last week, and boy did I get it right. Pierce County goes into Lyons and defeats Toombs County 17-14. This win puts the Bears, the Bulldogs, and the Appling County Pirates in a three-way tie. Speaking of Appling County handled business last Friday night at home in Jimmy Swain Stadium. They defeated Windsor Forest 61-0. Brantley County hosts the Vidalia Indians in Caney Bay. Herons drop one here. Vidalia wins 29-7 in Nahana. Now you come on over to Waycross, and they played home to Bradwell Institute. But the Ware County Gators go 2-0 in the region play. They get a win 52-20. Camden County, team on the coast in Kingsland, played host to state powerhouse Colquitt County. Colquitt County ended up winning this game 37-16. Charlton, after a really rough non-region schedule, is now 2-0 in region play. They're now going to win 46-14 over Atkinson last week. They get a great opportunity here with clinch. Game of the week in the book didn't live up to the hype that we thought it would be on the paper, though. Coffee rolls Statesboro in Statesboro's home stadium 51-0. Effingham's looking really good, y'all. They defeat Evans County, another region opponent, 42-10. Glenn, trying to make up for their loss to Effingham earlier in the season, goes on the road to Augusta. They defeat Grovetown 43-3. Jeff Davis played host to the Fitzgerald Purple Hurricanes. Well, the Purple Hurricanes ran into town and blew them down. They defeat the Yellow Jackets 48-0. McIntosh County Academy bounces back in the win column after last week's loss to Jenkins County. They defeat Montgomery County 46-14. Wayne County goes on the road to New Hampstead, another region opponent since Wayne's moved down to 4A. They get the Phoenix 21-16 over in Pooler. Valdosta and Richmond Hill, a battle of the Wildcats. Well, Valdosta wins this one on the road 24-14. South Effingham bounces back with a region victory. They defeat Lakeside Evans 22-19. That's all for me, folks. I can't wait to come back and tell you the scores for October 20th next week, and I'll see you guys later in the show.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined as always by head writer and podcast host Kevin Price. Kevin, how you doing today?
Good, Sean. Good to be here talking high school football again. Getting late in the season now, and kind of starting to be crunch time and some critical games coming up in terms of what the playoff picture could look like in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we got movers and shakers going on right now, Kevin. You gotta make your moves if you're going to try to set yourself up for a good seed going into playoffs, because we're just a few weeks away from starting round one here in Southeast Georgia. But let's jump right into the games coming up for 10-20 this Friday night and Thursday night. We got a couple games that are going on Thursday night, but we're going to start off, Kevin, with our 912 Sports Game of the Week. Long at Liberty County. This game, Kevin, is essentially for playoff position. You've got Long at 2-2 in the region. You've got Liberty at 2-2 in region. I think 1, 2, and 3 is already kind of set in stone. Looks like Calvary Day is going to win that. Then some combination of Savannah Christian and Savannah Country Day is going to be in there at 2 and 3. And then whoever wins this game is going to have a leg up and probably will go ahead and submit themselves as that 4 seed. Of course, you're going to have to go on the road. But again, a lot on the line this Friday night there in Liberty County, Kevin.
Yeah, that's definitely what this is all about. And Long at Liberty, a game in Hinesville. So from that standpoint, you would think it would favor Liberty a little bit. But you know, obviously Long has won a few more ball games. They've won 4 to Liberty's 2. Both of those for Liberty were region games. But when you look at who they have left, Sean, Long still has to play Calvary Day, and then Liberty still has to play Savannah Christian. If you were to say, okay, both those teams, lose those ball games, not that they necessarily will, not that that's automatic, but that does make this possibly and very likely for that number 4 spot, like you mentioned. So it could be winner take all here, even though there's still more games to play. If somebody were to lose this game, then obviously they're going to have to pull an upset and try to create maybe some kind of tiebreaker or something down the road. But head to head, this one is huge on Friday night.
Yeah, it's almost an elimination game, in my opinion. The loser's probably going to be going to have a 10-game season and going to be at the house come playoff season. You mentioned it is at Liberty, but I mean, let's face it, it is a road game for Long. But what is that? 15-minute ride down the road. So we're not talking about no 3-hour trek that some of these teams are making this week. But should be a good one over there in Hinesville. So we'll see who comes out on top. But we'll move right along, Kevin. We're getting to one of my favorite regions here in our area this year, Applin at Vidalia. And when you look at this on paper, Kevin, Vidalia is sitting there at 3-0 in the region. Applin already with a loss. But if you go back there and you kind of peel the onion a little bit, the teams that Applin's played has not been the teams that Vidalia has played in that region. Applin coming off a big win this past Friday night, 51-0 over Windsor Forest, and then Vidalia, like I said, 29-7 over Brantley. So everybody's trending in the right direction, but this is a really, really important game, especially if Appling wants to stay in that three-way tie that we've got at the top of that region with Pierce, Toombs, and Appling. We'll get in a little bit into the tiebreaker there, Kevin. The first tiebreaker is points per game, or point spread in the games that you won or lost. All of these teams lost at home by 3 points. So that one is thrown out. Then you get into a 13-point win margin. And if you don't win by 13 points over all your other opponents, then you're kind of eliminated from that three-way tie. Then it goes back to head-to-head. Oh, by the way, if everybody beats everybody by 13 points, talking about the three sitting at the top, and everybody remains undefeated for the rest of the season, then we're going to go to the old hat draw. And the way the hat draw is working in this region, Kevin, is whoever is pulled out of the hat will be number one, and then whoever is left in the hat will go back to head. So it will not be three names pulled out. It'll be that one seed, and then it'll go back to head to the two remaining teams. So pretty interesting to see how this is going to shake out. Still a lot of football to be played in that region, but we'll see how it goes there for Appling County, who does have to go on the road over to Vidalia to play this game Friday night.
Yeah, I tell you, it's real interesting that the teams involved are potentially involved in the tie, which is Pierce, Appling, and Toombs, all beat each other by 3 points. So that therefore makes you go to that next tiebreaker that they have in hand, and that's that 13-point margin over everybody. Like you said, if you're the odd man out, if you didn't beat somebody by 13 and the other two did, well, you're eliminated, and it goes to head between them. But I can tell you this, Sean, this is what I'll say about this ball game. Appling will win this one by 13 or more.
Yeah, I feel like it is. And like I said, Vidalia is sitting there at 3-0, Kevin, but I think that's kind of misleading because Vidalia has not played the same competition that the Appling County Pirates have played. So I look for Appling to stay tied in that three-way tie, at least do their part anyway going forward. But we'll move on, Kevin. We've got Pelham's going to go over to Bacon County. We'll see if Bacon County can keep things on the winning streak. Next game up is a very interesting game, Statesboro and Bradwell Institute. I think both of these teams are winless in this 5A region there, so we'll see who can get one in the W column. Brantley got to go on the road to Tattnall. Tattnall playing a little bit better ball, but I think Brantley can go on the road and get a win there. So we'll see how Coach Camden does with the Brantley County Herons. And the next game, Kevin, we're going to talk about is South Effingham at Brunswick. Brunswick's going to be back at home this week, trying to stay in that three-way tie, or hoping for that three-way tie so they can get to that game with Evans at the end of the season. And then South Effingham sitting there seeing if they can figure out a way to make the playoffs. Don't know if there is a path, because right now it looks like Brunswick, Effingham, Glenn is going to be in that top three. So who's going to take that fourth spot? I mean, I think it could be South, but there's a couple other teams there that'll have something to say about it. So this is a real important ball game for both of these teams going into Friday night, which you'll have the call forward there between the bricks.
Yeah, obviously, if South Effingham were to win, that would be a huge, huge boost for their playoff chances and would be a big disappointment for the Pirates, who then would fall out of that possibility of a three-way tie for first at the end of things in this region. That's the way it's shaping up, Sean, assuming Brunswick, holds serve and gets to that Effingham game undefeated in the region. Same thing with Effingham. If they get to the Brunswick game at the end of the year, and it looks like Glenn is going to do that. They've already beaten Brunswick, of course, and lost to Effingham. And so now Glenn playing out the string, trying to keep just that one loss. And it's a similar deal in this region, except for after head-to-head, they would go to that, points allowed between the three teams. And Effingham has the huge lead right now in that deal, because they gave up only 3 to Glenn. Brunswick gave up 22 in the loss. And then, of course, Glenn is possibly going to be the odd man looking out in that scenario, because, they gave up 49 when they lost to Effingham. So that kind of puts them way behind the 8 ball in terms of the tiebreaker. But Brunswick, like I said, has to hold serve, has to get to that Effingham game with a chance to win it. And then hopefully they can win by enough to get the number 1 seed. If they lose that tiebreaker, Brunswick potentially is going to fall all the way to the number 3 seed, because once you put Effingham in the top spot, then it becomes head-to-head again between Glenn and Brunswick. And, of course, Glenn won that city championship game here in late September. So whoever the odd man out is on that tiebreaker, very well, could be sitting in the third spot, or if it's Brunswick, they could be, obviously in the third spot too. So, we'll see what happens here. Brunswick should be a big favorite at home. They've not played in a couple of weeks. They beat Lakeside Evans on the road 2 weeks ago, and we're off last week, so they've had a chance to get rested and healthy here for the stretch run, and I would expect to see a pretty good performance by the Pirates on Friday night at home.
Yeah, if everybody holds serve, Kevin, the Glen Academy Red Terrors have got to be, really got to be Brunswick High Pirate fans. Got to be Effingham fans, because, if the scenario holds true with what you said, Glen really doesn't have a shot but anything but three in the three-way tie. Whereas if Effingham was to beat Brunswick, that would have moved Brunswick down to third, and Glen would take over that second spot.
Yeah, that would have, if Effingham beats Brunswick, or even if Brunswick wins, if they don't win by enough, it's going to still be, a three-way tie. So, so in that standpoint, Brunswick, could possibly win that ball game and create the three-way tie, every team having one region loss, but be the odd man out when it comes to the tiebreaker, because if Effingham were to win it, then it goes back to head-to-head between Glen and Brunswick for the 2 spot. So the bottom line is, it looks like Glen or Brunswick, one has a good chance of being at home in the playoffs, but both of them probably won't. Effingham will probably be, either 1 or 2.
Well, let's move on, Kevin. The next game up is a big 7A game. The Camden County Wildcats going to be taking on the Valdosta Wildcats, and another cat battle here. We've had a lot of cat battles going on in that region. Camden coming off of that tough loss, and then to Colquitt County, and then Valdosta getting the win over Richmond Hill in another cat battle this past Friday night. But this is going to be a good one. Camden's going to have to go on the road, but I think if Camden plays well, they've got a shot to win this game. This is not the insurmountable task I think they had last week trying to beat the Colquitt Packards. I think the Colquitt Packards are head and shoulders above everybody in this region. I think they may be the best team in 7A, or at least one of the best 3 teams in 7A. Had a big battle up in the north this past Friday night between, I think, 1 and 2, but I think Colquitt's right there with it. Not so much with Valdosta. I think Valdosta is vulnerable, and I think Camden can go on the road and get a win.
Yeah, well, speaking of all the cat fights, 3 of the 5 teams in this region, I guess, are nicknamed the Wildcats. You got Richmond Hill, Camden, and, of course, Valdosta. So pretty good chance you're going to line up against another team with the same nickname. Just hopefully they have different colors than you, and they do. But Richmond Hill and Valdosta, obviously, both, black and gold. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's not get off too much on a different tangent there. But big ball game right here. When you're looking at it from Camden County's perspective, Sean, they're basically in the same situation they were in last year after 2 region ball games. They've got the win over Richmond Hill and the loss to Colquitt. Now they've got 2 games left against the teams from Wintersville, which is Valdosta and Lowndes. They'll have a break in between after Valdosta this week. They got their open week next week in the 5-team region, and to finish off the season against the Lowndes Vikings. And, of course, Adam Carter, former, assistant coach under Jeff Herron. They're good buddies, but we'll talk about that when it gets there. But the only difference is, Sean, the Valdosta game and the Lowndes game last year were at home for Camden. They won both of those ball games and made it into the playoffs as a 2 seed, got to be at home, got a win in the first round, then went and played Adam Carter and Grayson. And, of course, Adam Carter is now at Lowndes. So that's the difference, but the same scenario holds true in terms of if they win both these ball games, they'll be in the number 2 hole. When you look at it from Valdosta's standpoint, they can win this ball game, stay undefeated in the region. They already have the win over Lowndes the first week of the region schedule, also a win last week over Richmond Hill. So they could go in to their last game against Colquitt with both teams potentially being undefeated and certainly playing for the region championship. But when you look at this game, Sean, I think it's all about defense. Both of these teams, I think, are going to play good defense in this ball game. Valdosta has a bevy of running backs they're going to run at you, a couple of good receivers that have big play potential. So Camden's got to eliminate the big plays. But, I really think it's going to boil down to who can generate enough offense, maybe take advantage of a turnover or something like that, or good field position against another good defense. I think the defenses dictate things in this ball game, and we'll see which offense can prevail.
And it's funny, Kevin, time of possession may win this football game. You don't say that a whole lot in football games, but who can keep this ball the longest and make long, like you said, sustained drives may come out on the winning end. But this is going to be a huge game, especially if it comes down to the same number of wins, because you're going to hold that head to head. So this is a huge, huge game in Valdosta this Friday night. So we'll see if Camden can make the ride over and get it done. But we'll go move on. We got Charlton County coming off another win, Kevin. They've got 2 region wins now. They're open this week. The Clinch County Panthers is going to go over to Atco. I think that'll be a pretty easy win there. And then the Jenkins Warriors are going to travel over to the Coffee County Trojans. I think Coffee's just basically going through the motions till they get that last game of the season with Ware. I think Ware's kind of in the same boat, but that'll be a big game there Friday night, or that'll be a big game coming up at the end of the season. But let's take a break, Kevin. We'll come back and talk about the rest of the games lined up for 10:20. But you're watching On Air with 912 Sports.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Welcome back, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke. He's Kevin Price, and we're going to finish up the games for this Thursday and Friday, the 19th and 20th of October. But, Kevin, we'll start off with Effingham. Effingham gets a bye this week. They're open, so they'll get a chance to get prepared for that last two-game run there, so we'll see how they do. Then we got a big one there on St. Simon's, Kevin, this Thursday night. This is another Thursday night game between the Bullock Academy Gators and the Frederica Knights. So we'll see if Frederica can get back on the winning side of things. And then next game we're going to talk about is Glenn at Evans. Glenn made that long ride, Kevin, to Augusta last Friday night. And oh, by the way, they get rewarded this Friday night by, guess what? Getting on the bus, making another 3-hour ride to the Augusta area. Going to be playing in Evans, Georgia. But I think this should be a win for the Glen Academy Red Terrors. They handled their business on Thursday night last week at Grovetown. I think they go up Friday night and do the same thing in Evans.
Yeah, they handled business last week and have a good chance to do the same thing this week. I think Evans is a better team across the board than Grovetown. Matter of fact, they already have a win over Grovetown for what that's worth. And then they also beat Lakeside Evans in region play. Now, they lost big to Effingham, just like Glenn did, 42-10. I think that game was just last Friday night. But Evans does have a really good running back, Sean. I think he might lead the region right now in rushing, one of the top rushers in Class 6A. But Rayshawn King is senior. They've got him listed as a wide receiver on their roster, but I think he runs the football and catches it. But he's averaging a little over 100 yards a game. I think 102.4 to be exact. Has a little over 700 for the season, 717 yards. In the 7 ball games that they played. So obviously, like I say, averaging a little bit over 100. So I think the key for Glenn, number one, is to stop him, keep him from, dictating the game, keep him from breaking off long runs and possibly for touchdowns. But when you look at Glenn, they were very, very good the other night against Grovetown on offense, kept the ball on the ground for the most part, and why not? They had the hot hand that they went to early in Willie Butler and kept giving him the ball, and he broke off long runs, scored 3 touchdowns, one on a little over 50 yards. And when you add it all up at the end of the night, he had 24 carries for 300 yards, which is the best single game mark under Coach Rocky Hidalgo. And, of course, Glenn has had some good running backs in his tenure, but it's certainly one of the best single game rushing marks in school history, too. And so Willie Butler started the season as the backup running back to Greg Peacock. They were going to use them both. haven't really had the opportunity to do that because Peacock has been nursing injuries all year long. And, of course, now for the last couple of weeks, we've known he was going to be out for the season with a shoulder injury. But Willie Butler has certainly stepped in and carried the mail for Glenn, and I think he'll carry them to a win again on Friday night.
Well, that's right, Kevin. And one thing both of us know is running backs don't rush for 300 yards without the big uglies up front. So Glenn's offensive line had to be playing really, really well last Thursday night.
They did. I think they came off the ball really well and opened up some holes, and he was able to pick and choose. And I think that's obviously going to be Glenn's mojo again. Get off the ball, get downhill, play fast, play physical, and just try to grind it out and wear them down. And I think that's a good possibility that could happen. Same formula. It could be the same formula for Glenn in this one as it was last week, making the same trip to the same area.
Yeah, if your backup's going for 300 on the ground, that's not a bad deal, that's for sure. So we'll see how that one plays out on Friday night. We'll move along. We've got Jeff Davis got to go on the road to Worth County. That'll be an interesting region matchup there. And then we got MCA. This is the acronyms. We got MCA at ECI. So we'll see which one of the three-letter schools there can get a win. MCA definitely not having the season we thought they were going to have, Kevin, at the beginning of the year. Going to struggle there to see if they can make the playoffs. So we'll see if that's a possibility. Then we've got New Hampstead going to go over to Islands. That's pretty much an automatic win. Islands not having a good year by no means. New Hampstead coming off that tough loss to Wayne County this past Friday night. Give credit to the Yellow Jackets. They went into the Phoenix house and got it done. So congratulations to them. But the next game we want to talk about is Pierce at Windsor Forest. This game, Kevin, has been moved to Thursday night. The reason for that is Windsor Forest. We want to send our prayers and thoughts to that community. They lost a young JV player here a couple weeks ago. That young man's funeral is going to be on Friday. They asked Pierce to move this game to Thursday, and of course Pierce was happy to accommodate with the situation. So this is going to be a Thursday night game, but Pierce got to get on the bus, got to make a long bus ride over to Savannah. But by the way, I think this is another, just like you said, Kevin, earlier, a 13-point win for the Pierce County Bears to keep them tied in that three-way tie with Toombs and Appling.
Yeah, no question. I mean, I think they'll be fine, playing on Thursday. They'll go to Savannah and just see if they can take care of business and get the job done. Obviously, great sportsmanship there, if that's what you want to call it, to certainly accommodate the Knights with that situation that's already difficult enough to deal with. And you're trying to play football around it and keep life going and everything for the rest of the kids in that program. But that is key for, Pierce to get that 13-point margin and stay in chance for that tiebreaker, or a win's a win. So if somebody else were to drop a game, they're obviously right there in good shape without a tiebreaker. So they should go over there and take care of business. This Pierce team is solid, across the board, and their defense is really good. And I would just suspect that this is a business trip for Pierce, and they'll come away successful.
Games like this can help prepare you for what's coming here in a few weeks, because eventually, if you play long enough in the playoffs, Kevin, you're going to be getting on a bus, making a two-hour plus bus ride to play somebody. So this will be a good, from a logistics standpoint, for Pierce to get ready for that playoff run. Speaking of getting on a bus and making a car ride, maybe Glenn and Ware can figure out some way to save on some money, Kevin, and both ride together, because Ware County's got to get on a bus, travel 3 hours to Evans, Georgia, to play Greenbrier this Friday night. Greenbrier struggling on the season. I know they did not win a game last year. They have not won a game this year. But again, Kevin, still got to make that 3-hour bus ride, go play a region game. And I talked to Coach on the podcast, but you can listen to all our podcasts on 912sports.net. And basically, when you have games like this, Kevin, it's more about playing to a standard. And Coach talked a little bit about that on the podcast, doing Ware County things and playing like Ware County Gators, regardless of who's on the other sideline. And that's kind of what Ware's going to be faced with Friday night.
Yeah, and back to that comment about, Glenn, I mean, these two games are right there, probably within miles of each other.
Yeah, I say 5 miles apart, maybe.
I know Evans and Greenbrier are, big rivals. And I think when Greenbrier came into existence, I think they got a lot of kids, from Evans. So, even if they couldn't carpool up there together, maybe they could meet up at some restaurant and get a discount on a bigger group
On
rate or
meal.
something. Yeah. But I know Strick and Rock are friends, so maybe we're giving them some ideas. By the time they watch this show, of course, Rock probably won't. That might be a little too late to do that, but maybe they could think about something like that in the future. But this should be an easy win for Ware. I mean, Greenbrier hasn't won a game all season. I don't think they're 0-7. They're only averaging like 11.6 points. Ware's given up just a little bit over 18. So it adds up to a pretty routine victory for Ware. And like I say, playing to a standard, maybe setting some goals that you would like to achieve, kind of challenging the kids in different ways other than winning the game by 1 point or more on the scoreboard. I think that's how you do approach this.
Exactly. Maybe get some young kids some playing time too as well. So we'll see how that goes. But look for Ware to roll on Friday night. And then last game we're going to talk about, Kevin, the last game on the slate for us is Benedictine at Wayne County. This is a very, very interesting game. Wayne County coming off that big win over New Hampstead, put themselves solidly in that 3-2 spot, depending on how some things will shake out there. But Benedictine, Kevin, has had some close games. New Hampstead, who Wayne beat, played them very, very close. I think it was an 8-point game without a couple of turnovers. Who knows what happens in that game? Burke County, the same scenario. I think was a single-digit win for Benedictine. So Wayne gets this game at home. They know that Benedictine is vulnerable. They're not the, we're going to beat you by 40 points and make you like it team that they have been in the past. But again, Wayne's strength plays right into the hands of Benedictine, and that's Wayne's running the ball. Matthew Fuller, again, a great night this past Friday night against New Hampstead. I think he went for 272 or something like that. But that is a different animal at Benedictine. There are 3 D1 guys playing on that defensive line for the Cadets, and they are stout. So it'll be interesting to see if Wayne's strength can go against Benedictine's strength, and they can find a way to win Friday night. But listen, the Wayne County Yellow Jackets made a believer out of me Friday night going into New Hampstead, getting that victory. So who's to say they can't get it done at home this Friday night, Kevin?
Well, you're right. I mean, Wayne has a D1 running back in Matthew Fuller who's going to South Carolina. They're going to give him the ball. They've done it all year. I don't expect them to change at this point. Maybe they throw it around a little bit more out of necessity against this tough BC defense, but I don't think they're just going to go right in the game and wing it around just because they don't think they can run the ball. But maybe they have to mix things up a little more than they would actually like to be successful over the whole duration of the ball game. But yeah, I mean, they're just really going to have to challenge their offensive line to get after that Benedictine front that you mentioned. And, let's get physical and tough in the trenches, and let's see who can, come away and win the battle. But again, I don't know that this game can be played in a high scoring manner, particularly if, Wayne County is the winner. I think their formula themselves is to run the ball, put it in the end zone when they can, get points on the scoreboard, but turn around and play good defense themselves. That's going to be the key. And we know they've got a good defensive football team too. Of course, BC is really talented offensively, got a great quarterback who's a D1 prospect, and several playmakers on that side. So that challenge is certainly not an easy one for the Wayne County defense. But they really have nothing to lose but a football game here, Sean. Everybody's going to be picking, Benedictine to win and stay undefeated and possibly, go on and win another state championship. So obviously a golden opportunity for Wayne to maybe, steal one here if they can and upset the apple cart in that region. If they weren't to win it, they probably are looking at the number 3 seed at best. If they were to win it, I don't really know where things fall in terms of tiebreakers and stuff like that. We'll worry about that if something gets out of form here. But again, I think you just challenge your offensive front to lay the ball game on them, say we're going to give it to the Fuller kid, and you got to go out and make some space for him against this tough BC defense.
Yeah, I mean, and you hit the nail on the head. Wayne does have a stout defense. I mean, New Hampstead had been coming in. I think it had several games where they had scored over 50 points, and they held them to right at 20. So the defense for Wayne can get it done as well. So going to be a big one there at JC Stadium in Jessup on Friday night. So we'll see who comes out on top. But hey, stick around. We got more on air with 912 Sports coming up right after these messages.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Hey folks, I'm back. Like I said a little bit earlier in the show, we are 1-0 so far. Had that big win last week on the road in Lions in favor of the Pierce County Bears. I picked Pierce by 7. They ended up winning by 3, 17-14 for those who were not here earlier in the show. But let's get a little bit better on the score this week, guys, but let's keep those winning ways. So this week, October 20th, the game of the week, like it is listed in the book, we're going to stick with it. It's going to be Long County going on the road to Hinesville to play the Liberty County Panthers. Both of these teams are coming off of a bye. They did not play last week in preparation of this game. This is a huge region matchup in a 3A ball, and I'm really excited to pick it. I think it's going to be one of the better matchups of the season so far. Now, Donnell Wood Stadium, where Hinesville and Liberty County gets to play football, it can get a little nasty, a little daunting at times, but Coach Mike Feaster and his team, they're 2-2 in the region. They're trying their best to stick together and continue their playoff streak that they're hoping to get to 3 this fall, and I'm going to ride with them. Coach Feaster is coming off a record-breaking year in 2022. I think he's going to try his best to continue that trend here in 2023, and to do that, he's got to go on the road and win big games. He gets one done Friday night. I'm going to take the Long County Blue Tide by a field goal, give me 3 points over the Liberty County Panthers in Hinesville. Hey, if you agree with me, let me know by messaging me through the email listed below me. If you disagree with me, do the same thing. I want to hear both sides of the coin here, folks. But as always, my name is Evan Smoke, and I want all the smoke. So let me know right now in this email below me how you're feeling about the picks Friday night. Go Blue Tide, I guess.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robinson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
This has been a presentation of 912 Sports.